Morning.
Good morning.
Two polar opposites, really. Let's start with you, Dipsy. You think it's an outdated... What do you mean by that?
I mean, I think safety is so much more important than etiquette, especially on public transport.
Okay.
You know, modern day world that we live in is a little bit dog eat dog. You know, morning, rush hour, commute. It's stressful enough for mums trying to get their kids out the door. And then when you finally get that seat, you think the angels are smiling down at you. And then someone expects you to give that seat up for somebody. It's just not right.
If that was an old person, a person with a disability, would your opinion change?
Yes. Yes. When somebody needs the seat because, you know, they might be pregnant or older...
Oh, don't get me on that. I'll tell you a story in a minute.
Okay.
Shall I tell you it now very quickly? Is it right to do that, Kate? My dad, who's quite old now, but when he retired a few years ago, almost the last week that he was working in London, he'd take the train to Paddington and then the tube line, the Bakerloo line. He was 60 at this point. Up he jumped. It was a very crammed tube. There was a lady, she was pregnant and had another child with her. And he jumped up and said, would you like the seat? She slaughtered him in front of about 40 people and said he was sexist and that did he not think that she was strong enough to be able to stand, and he was mortified. So I think there are many sides to this, you know, because that's decent behaviour, isn't it?
Yes, you get someone reacting like that, and then people all think, well, I'm never going to give up my seat for anybody, and so that's a shame that happened, and that was not good manners of the woman in question for reacting to your father like that. But with children, you said that you're happy that when the little angels are in their seat. That is the trouble with a lot of modern parenting, is that we are raising children to think that they are little angels and they're marvellous and, oh, you know, darling, you're fine. And then once they get older and they go into the workplace, they transfer that sort of philosophy that they've been brought up with, and actually they have a real shock,
so
because that's not how life works.
William, is that it's a principle that children should learn their place, if you like, in society, that they should give up a seat to an adult and accept that. What about Dipty's point that actually modern life is ferocious? It's pouring with rain out there. You've been at the bus stop for ages. You're trying to make the summer holidays work. You get on the bus, they're overtired, and you think, squish them on a seat, keep them contained, and, you know, everyone's better off.
A child is resilient. A child can stand up for the short journey, however long you are going to be on.
Now, question. Have you got kids? Have you got kids?
No, I don't. But
so how can you talk about it like that?
Because I'm an adult.
No, but it is a nightmare. If you get on a tube with 3 kids, I've got 4 kids, but 3 kids. Yes. I mean, the ladies are correct, essentially. I take manners, and I think manners are down to parents, and I think they should still be, and Dipty's saying that. But the truth is, William, you don't want kids running around on a tube, they could get injured.
Yes, the child can offer the seat, the adult doesn't need to accept it, but a child should be trained and sort of educated that they have to defer to adults.
Then, Dipty, what about simple, old-fashioned good manners, which might make our world less dog-eat-dog if we all did it? If our children learn to offer a seat, they'll become adults and they'll be generous to others. Why not start instilling that?
I kind of understand that, but I don't agree, because children... Are you saying that children are less important than adults?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yes. Children are lovely, but actually an adult deserves the seat, whether they're... Obviously, assuming that they're not pregnant and they're of a sort of middle age.
Children are less important than adults?
Yes, the respect goes to adults. That is sort of the way of the life, and a child needs to know.
I think an adult's and a parent's job is to educate that child so that they turn out in the right way. I take what you're saying, but I also absolutely agree with Dipty, and I think I'm not being rude when I say you haven't got kids, but I'll ask you a question. Do you want a man to open a door for you? Do you want a man to give up his seat for you, or is that, in the world we live in, is that not wanted nowadays?
Well,
Serious question.
I am actually quite an independent person, so I wouldn't expect a man to open the door for me, but because the way I navigate my way through the world, if I was opening a door, I would check behind me to see if there was anybody behind me.
You open the door because they're a human being, regardless of their gender or their age. You open the door, you hold open a door because
do you
someone
think
else is coming
sorry,
through
Kate, go on. Sorry.
No, it's only because Dipty, you was very shocked when William said that adults are more important than children. There's a lot of people who feel that your shock and the fact that children are as important as adults is what has given us a lot of kind of entitled kids. who think they can run the world. I'm not saying that I think that, but people do feel like the kids think they can have everything, they need to have a phone just like adults, they need to have stuff, and they kind of expect that things should be given to them. Do you worry that your sort of shock means that you've bought into that?
Well, I've got 2 teenage sons who, you know, I've brought up to understand that they matter. They are comfortable in their own skin.
But so does their mother.
And so do I. Yeah, so we actually
it's a
have
mutual
a very
respect.
justice. Like, you know, we're into equality and justice and fairness.
Life isn't equal. It'd be lovely if it was, but I'm afraid that on a bus, on the tube, whatever it is, the child should, if they're sort of 5+, they should clock that there's an adult that's got
William,
and say, would you like my
William,
seat?
I don't disagree with you about etiquette, but in the real world, you could also argue that there are plenty of children who have come from a cold, unloving, uncaring background, whose parents see them as not important, who are left in their room to fend for themselves, who have gone through their lives with all sorts of problems. I think we have to finish this. There has to be balance there, doesn't there? I think a parent does have to teach kids, you know, how to behave, but and they need independence. It's a balance, isn't it? At the end of the day.